Welcome back to Breslov.org. A bit about Rebbe Nachman's way in learning Torah. We may have spoken about this in the past, but it's good to reiterate it again. Rebbe Nachman wasn't so much into the analytical study of Torah, especially what's called the analytical study of Gemara, Be'iyun, and Pilpulim in Hebrew terminology. Rebbe Nachman's approach in learning Torah is to cover ground, to go quickly, to cover all areas of the Torah, to finish the entire Chumash with Rashi, Tanakh, the Mishnayot, Gemara, Shulchan Aruch, Midrash, Ein Yaakov, Zohar, Chassidut, and if you're at that level, Kabbalah, you name it, Musar books, to go through the books. There are people in the Torah world who believe, no, you have to sit down on a little paragraph and to work and digest it and to dissect it and everything. Rebbe Nachman stressed the Gemara's opinion itself that you gain much, much more by covering ground, because the amount of knowledge that you gain is so vast afterwards by covering so much ground, so that when you cover that area of Torah again a second time, your understanding is much more enhanced than the guy who spends 10 years or 5 years or 1 year or 1 month, whatever, on one little paragraph trying to go into it. Your awareness, believe it or not, is much more at a vantage point. This does not mean that Rebbe Nachman wasn't for learning in depth. He did reserve learning in depth, but Rebbe Nachman's main emphasis of learning in depth was specially reserved for learning his book, his teachings in his book Likutei Moharan in depth. Yes, to have a study session of learning in depth in Rebbe Nachman's Likutei Moharan, but more for the sake of healing yourself, of purifying and making a change, as opposed to just an intellectual learning, which can happen a lot when learning Gemara, where people invest in the mind in order to understand that to fulfill the mitzvah of Torah study in Iyun. Rebbe Nachman suggested invest that koach in his book, where here the learning in depth will actually heal and change a person. But back with what we were saying, in the main, Rebbe Nachman's approach is to cover ground. And what's amazing is when doing this, you see how much you advance, how much your Hebrew vocabulary, the Aramaic vocabulary, and also understanding of Torah ideas becomes so amazingly vast in such a short amount of time.